Hello, this is Scarlet and Rage podcast. I am Michael, the voice of reason, and this is Jay, the voice of rage. And we have a election day episode coming to you. It's actually election day after. Huge day in the country. Whether you're a Trump supporter or whether you're a Harris supporter, it is a very impactful day. And Big Ten country delivered the election to Donald J. Trump. I told you last night, Jay, I said the Big Ten country is going to come through and they're going to deliver the election. I said there's no way that Ohio is going to win by as many points as they did, and the other ones aren't going to come through at all. So that ended up playing out as the night went. But yeah, I mean, everybody's kind of talking about the election, Jay. I mean, even football has taken a back seat to the event that just took place in our country on Tuesday.
God bless America and God bless Donald J. Trump. President Donald J. Trump. What a story, man. What a story. I mean, movies will be made about his life. I mean, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah.
What he has gone through and been through to be where he is now is just the story of the ultimate American hero and the best president of easily the 21st century. Best president since Ronald Reagan. Freedom won in this election. The Democrats had gone so far to the left that they were no longer Democrats. Let's be real, they're communists.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and why I say communists, because just look at the rhetoric and what they say and what they want to do. They want to separate the nuclear family. They hate religion. They want you to worship at the altar of the government. They want to make all your decisions for you. I mean, that's communism. Everything that they're against are obstacles to them. And man, oh man, did you happen to listen to Joe Rogan's podcast with Elon Musk on Monday by any chance?
I listened to parts of it, yes. And it was very good. And the impact of a podcast on the presidential election of the United States is really incredible. I mean, it wasn't just Joe Rogan's. Yes, Joe Rogan's was the biggest, but you had Theo Vaughn, you had the guy from Massachusetts, what is his name? Lex Friedman. He had Trump on. And all of these places invited Kamala Harris as well. The Flagrant podcast, the comedians, they had Trump on. And then, of course, Rogan, it just millions and millions and millions of views. So, yeah, I mean, unbelievable what a difference it made. I knew he was going to win because he's out doing all these podcasts that I know are not hard right listeners. I mean, he got his message uninterrupted by the media. The media couldn't twist what he was saying because these guys, that's not what they're about. They're just wanting to let him talk. And Lex Friedman and a few others asked him some pretty hard pressing questions. And it was interesting to see him, under that scenario. And so a lot of, center of the road or maybe even a little left of center voters got to hear what Donald Trump was about apart from the noise of the media. And when she wasn't going out and counteracting that, and she wasn't going out and getting her message out on the Joe Rogan podcast or any of these places, I knew she was going to lose because she just didn't have anything to say. And, even with the media being hard left, if you don't have anything to say, you still can't get elected. And thank God that we at least proved that if a candidate has nothing to say, we're not going to elect them. Like what Trump says or don't like what Trump says, he says what he's going to do. He puts out, his positions. Sometimes they're a little bit crude, the way that he sketches them out. He doesn't put them out there like in the most eloquent way all the time, but he puts his policies out there, and she didn't, because I don't think she has any. And so I didn't think it was going to work. And I kind of felt the groundswell here in Ohio, and I felt like that would probably carry over to some of the other Big Ten states that were in play.
Man, you're right. The Big Ten did come through, man. The Big Ten did come through. And we understand this isn't a political podcast, but we would be completely remiss if we didn't mention the election. This helps the Big Ten, Donald Trump winning. Kamala Harris winning would have absolutely destroyed the Big Ten, would have destroyed college football. So, we have to report on that. But everything you said, I couldn't agree more with. Kamala, whatever the fuck her name is, Kamala, I don't care.
Quite honestly, Jay, I don't think it really matters what you call her. Just go ahead and be done with her. You can go ahead and call her loser.
Right, man. Well, you know what? Fucking cowardly bitch. That's what I'll call her. Yeah. But what I was going to say is she can't hold, she's not capable of holding interviews on the fly because I don't think she's got clear and concise thought, like individual thoughts. Like everything she's done is speaking from a teleprompter or speaking from notes she's gotten. And you can't convince me otherwise that she didn't have the answers already to that second debate. Actually, it was the first debate for her, second debate for Trump. In the second debate, you can't convince me that she didn't already have the answers because she was pretty much on it.
Yeah, Salty Balls said, never mind those commie states of Oregon, Washington, California, New Jersey, Minnesota, Maryland, all turning on us. Yeah, I mean the Big Ten is a split house. It's not like the SEC where it's all politically unified. There's definitely a split house in the Big Ten, but the Big Ten delivered enough with Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin that nothing else was needed.
They're traditional Big Ten states, man. I still have a hard time considering those states out there part of the Big Ten. Yeah, I cheer for them on the field, but they're culturally, for the most part, not aligned with us. Although, I think I made mention of it before that half of Oregon wants to secede from the eastern half and branch off and be governed or become a part of Idaho. I don't really remember because it's so crazy. But yeah, man, this was so big time. I mean, Donald Trump, man, if you don't believe in God, I think you need to reevaluate your life's choices because this man, I swear God has put him here for a reason. He's put him here for a reason to save our country. He's, save the constitutional republic. No, not democracy, because the United States, everyone, is not a democracy. I hate when people say on TV all the time, oh, he's a threat to democracy. Democracy this. No. Threat to our electoral college and our constitutional republic, because as a friend of mine told me, if we were a true democracy, the leftists out west and the people in New York and DC would have complete control of the country. They would have had it years ago. I understand Trump is winning the popular vote this time, but it's been 20 years. Sometime between 2008 and probably 2014, we would have lost total control with frickin' Barack Obama's terrible president.
I didn't think we were going to get into civics, but that's exactly what the founding fathers were hedging against. They did not want 51.1, 49.9 up or down democracy. Like they knew that was going to be a tyranny of the majority. And they knew that to get the majority, the government just has to promise them more things. That's kind of a different subject, but it's true. And we had that rejected. That was rejected. So it was good to see the Big Ten hasn't lost all sense of reason, because this wasn't a right-left election. It had nothing to do with that. I mean, the people that still think this was a right-left election, it's like that's not what it was. I mean, you had Robert Kennedy Jr. You had a Kennedy, the most famous Democratic family in the history of America, appearing in commercials that his vice president candidate had made and was tweeting out and getting millions of views. You got him saying you've got to elect Trump. You've got Tulsi Gabbard, who was the chair of the DNC just a few years ago, She ran for president as a Democrat in 2020. She's saying you've got to elect Trump. This wasn't a left-right thing. It had nothing to do with that. It was, quite frankly, if you were an old, like 60s liberal, if your eyes got open, like you would have voted for Trump because it was the only liberal option available out of the two.
Well, in the 60s, they were all, I mean, everyone was pretty much fiscally conservative with like some left-leaning thoughts is, oh, come on, Jacob Evans is something I was reading. But yeah, man, it really, I honestly don't even know what like the social things were that they were kind of going against back then. That was the only difference between the Democrats and the Republicans back then.
Well, I mean, they were anti-war. There was the anti-war movement. Well, if you're anti-war today, you got to be a Republican. You got to vote for Trump because he's the only candidate that's anti-war. The rest.
Well, I don't know that Trump's anti-war. It's just that other nations aren't going to fuck around under his watch because he'll go after them. Whereas they know Biden and Kamala, they're not going to do anything. Obama.
But he's going to do everything he can to strategically not go to war when he very easily could use those same situations to go to war the way that we've done in the past for no reason when it could be worked out some other way. So that's what I'm saying. He's anti-war. I'm not saying he wouldn't go to war if it's something absolutely necessitated it, but it's a last resort. And his 4 years in office already showed that because he didn't start any new wars.
Yeah, man. Dude, I got to be honest. I was so nervous. Michael, I was texting you about like 8:30, but you know what? Before I get into that, what changed, and you just mentioned a whole bunch of people that converted over, not even to the right wing, but just to like common sense, was Alex Jones, man. Alex Jones really, he's the one who converted Elon Musk. He's the one who converted Joe Rogan. Yeah. Like all of those guys, if it weren't for him, they wouldn't have put in the funding, or I mean, like they wouldn't have endorsed Donald Trump. They wouldn't have put in the funding. Elon Musk would not have maybe Elon Musk would have bought Twitter, but maybe he wouldn't have thought like after like speaking to Alex Jones and all that. But man, oh man, freedom of speech was saved in the last 4 years because of these people. And because of that, like messages were able to get out about the tyranny and the evil that the Democrats wanted to enforce. And Elon spoke about that. He spoke about like, listen, this is it. This is our last chance.
And Elon was anti-Trump in 2016. He resigned from whatever board he held under Obama. He resigned very quickly under Trump because he said he just didn't agree with him. There were just too sharp differences, and he didn't want to serve underneath him. So Elon was not a Trump guy, and so for him to come around was another huge conversion, which I think took place across the nation with many people changing their mind and changing their views on certain things. But I will say that Alex Jones planted the seeds for Joe Rogan, but Elon was the one that converted him. Like once Elon was like,
well, who converted Elon? I think it was Alex Jones.
I don't know. I really don't know the story to that. I mean, he may have had an influence on Elon as well.
Man, I remember seeing Elon put up like some kind of graphic, and he was like showing like, where he was in the Democratic Party in 2008. Yeah, he was like, like to the left of them or something like that. And then like, 2012, he's like, more in the middle. And then 2016, he's still barely a Democrat. Then 2020, they're like they have stretched so far left. He's like, what the fuck? I'm still here. What's going on? And man, just
Jacob Evans, males 18 to 29 showed up like crazy for Trump, and therefore it was a bloodbath. I'm proud of my demographic. Yeah, that was good. I mean,
well, the Democrats hate strong men. The Democrats hate strong men because they are a threat to their democracy, because the nuclear family is what they're most afraid of. Without strong men, women are getting abortions. Without strong men, you don't have like the warriors and the leaders to guide our nation. Like you have these beta cuck males, I guess, if you want to say it. Yeah. You're going to run into a lot of societal issues, and you have to have leaders and warriors to, be there. I mean, if you don't have them, that's a massive problem. I was talking about that with my BJJ coach earlier today.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not surprising to me that young males went that way because if you want to be a rebel, vote for Trump. you know, if you want to join the man, if you want to, if you want to join Big Brother, then vote for Kamala. I mean, that was the setup, and I think young men kind of got that. Pretty easily that if we want to be rebellious, like we vote for Trump. That's who the rappers are voting for. That's who. I mean, look at Kamala's celebrity list. It's all the very polished industry made celebrities. I'm not saying they're not talented people, but I'm saying they're industry made. It's got all the industry gloss and glamour to it. Look at the ones that were supporting Trump, these rappers, Kid Rock, who basically puts a middle finger to the industry and says, I do whatever I want. 50 Cent, old rapper who'd been shot several times. These are the guys supporting Trump. So it was a very clear picture. Like, if I want to be a rebel, he's the one who got put in jail. He's the one who had a mugshot. All of this was to stop him, and it got him elected. It's really quite astounding to sit and watch.
Well, yeah, man. And I mean, what I find? Oh, number one, did you see that picture of the Amish? I don't know if it was real or not, or AI, but they had like a whole bunch of like Amish buggies going in to like vote. There was like 20 of them. There's like it was crazy. It was crazy.
I think the Amish in small numbers have been voting for Trump for a while.
There was large numbers this time. And you know what I find most ironic in all of this?
What?
Is the Arabs all voted for Trump.
Yeah, I know.
Because Trump would absolutely be full on with Israel.
Yeah.
But they thought like fucking Kamala Harris is in charge right now. She hasn't done enough in their eyes. They're like, we have been abandoned. We have been abandoned by you. And they fucking had enough of it. And I guess there's a big Arab population in Michigan. I have no idea. I haven't been to Michigan. I don't know if I've ever been there.
Dearborn, Michigan has a massive Arab population.
Okay, yeah, that's what I think they were talking about. They were like, "What's going on here?" and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
which is kind of interesting because the Arabs like are absolutely socially farther right than probably you or I.
It's a super weird marriage, and the Democrats have been able to get them on their side with the the identity politics. Well, you're brown, so anyone who would vote for Trump hates you. Which is the most absurd thing in the world. But I mean, it's been messaged for years and for years and for years, but it's been messaged so much I don't think people care anymore. Most people are tuning that out because it's beyond absurd. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, maybe they did kind of some deductive reasoning. I mean, and I give them credit if they did. But neither side is not going to be on Israel's side, whether we vote for Kamala or whether we vote for Trump. They're both going to be on Israel's side. But Trump might actually do something that will stop the war and would stop Israel from bombing, our country. And so therefore we're going to vote for Trump. I mean, that's a possibility.
That is a possibility. That is a possibility for sure. Yeah. He is going to end whatever. Like the war over there, he's going to end it. I don't know how he's going to do that, but he's going to do it. Yeah, man, just, getting into this more. Let's remember that the left, they're the ones. I mean, this is good for the Big Ten. I'll tell you why. This is I was reading something. So 4 years ago, the Big Ten shut down from COVID with Kevin Warren, who is a known Democrat, and I would almost consider him a fucking socialist. What is like the biggest problem with these people, Michael? Do you know? Outside of like what they want to enforce?
Well, I think the biggest problem with guys like Kevin Warren is just that he was a weak man. When I say that, I mean he was willing to bend over and take anything, as long as he would get promoted. According to the system of wokeism or whatever you want to call it. So that's why he went right along the company line with COVID. When the SEC is down there saying, "Yeah, we're going to play," and we were behind the 8 ball. And I'm not saying it cost Ohio State a national championship that year. I mean, probably they were not going to be able to beat Alabama no matter what. But I mean, I don't know. They certainly probably didn't go into the season at their best. They went into the season at a big disadvantage because of decisions by Kevin Warren.
Well, acknowledging what Caroline just said, she was like, "What, Jay? Why haven't you blessed us with a performance? Why no mask?" I don't know what you're talking about. What mask are we referring to? Are you talking about Ghostface? That's not me. Somebody was in my house. I don't know what's going on there. Biden administration is very hard on the Pennsylvania Amish. Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah,
Donald Trump was in office. Ohio State never lost to Michigan. Slip and Skippy. Maybe, hey, now that Trump just won, man, does that mean? Does it count that he's in? He's not officially in office yet. So is Michigan going to beat Ohio State this year?
Slip and Skippy said that what a waste of Fields' season cut short. Yeah, it was. It really was. It was horrible that Fields had to go out, on a ridiculous
I lost track
like
what I was going to say, man. The biggest problem outside of like all of their freaking draconian policies, because that's what they try and say about Republicans, but their draconian policies they're hypocrites. Kevin Warren shut the Big Ten down, and his son was still playing for Mississippi State.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what his answer was regarding that, but that is such hypocritical bullshit. Same thing along the lines of Nancy Pelosi going into salons in San Francisco when everything is shut down there. And getting your hair done.
Gavin Newsom gathering with parties of the elites of more people than the common folk are allowed to, and none of them are wearing masks. So yeah, it was hypocrisy on full display. COVID kind of got to show you what these people are all about, and I mean some Republicans too. It wasn't just Democrats. There were some Republicans that were not so hot during that either. But yeah, it's they showed who they were during that, and Kevin Warren showed who he was. And so that if in fact Trump had a lot to do with them playing, because he was still president then, and he started putting so much pressure on him about the Big Ten has to play football that it's almost like they had to do something.
Yeah, man. Thank God we won. Thank God freedom won, the free thinkers and stuff, because the Democrats, they are a machine. Did you happen to see last night? I think I had like 4 screens on, Michael. The Democrats were trying to dump ballots again like they did 4 years ago, late at midnight or something. I saw like a whole bunch of trucks coming in to like some kind of ballot counting facility in Philadelphia. And I was like, that's interesting. Where were these trucks before? Why are they going there with all these ballots? So whatever they were trying to do, it wasn't enough.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard little things about that. I haven't seen anything verified one way or the other on a couple of those.
I also heard that Pennsylvania was actually trying to stop counting at like 10, 11 o'clock or something like that. But the Republican legal team actually had solid ground force this time.
Yep.
And they said, no, you will continue to count. Those fuckers tried to steal it again.
Before we move on, I just want to say this. Last time in 2020, you've been made to feel like you are a pariah, a dim-witted, conspiracy theorist believing moron, knuckle dragging moron. If you believe that there was something that was a little bit odd about the election that took place in 2020, I'm going to be a little bit vague because YouTube is pretty strict on this particular rule, and we don't want any strikes on this channel. But, as you're watching on election night 2020, all of the sudden, all of the important states, Georgia, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, they just stopped counting. They just stopped counting. Nobody's counting votes anymore. And those just happen to be
That's going on right now?
No. This happened in 2020.
Oh, okay.
All the votes just stopped. They just stopped counting in those 6 states.
Right.
With Trump winning 5 of the 6 and winning some of them pretty big, like Pennsylvania by like 500,000 or 600,000 votes. And the counting just stops. And so
no malfunctions this time.
Yeah, all of the sudden, all of those states start surging in massive numbers for Joe Biden. And now all of the sudden there's 15 million less, roughly, Democrat voters out there for the 2024 election to save democracy and to stop Hitler, the second coming of Hitler, Donald Trump, 15 million less Democrats showed up to vote this time. So, either, Joe Biden just really, really stimulated the electorate to get out to the polls, or there was something a little bit odd that took place. Will we ever know the details of it? Probably not. But thank God, whatever happened in 2020 and all that craziness did not happen yesterday.
Did you ever watch the movie 2000? Was it 2000 Mules? 10,000 Mules? Yeah, 10,000 Mules.
Yeah.
Dinesh D'Souza. Did you see that?
I did not.
Oh man, everyone in the chat, I implore you to go watch 10,000 Mules, Dinesh D'Souza. I don't know that you would be able to rent it anywhere, but it was actually eye-opening, and you can't tell me that there wasn't something going on in 2020. Just everything shutting down, all of these people gathering like all these random ballots and dumping them.
Yeah.
Like, wow, like that. It's really scary. It was really, really scary, honestly.
Well, this is a fact. This is a verifiable fact. Those 6 states that just stopped counting all of a sudden on the 2020 election evening, Mark Zuckerberg had given $500 million to install drop voting, just drop boxes to drop ballots in, just like in neighborhoods in Detroit and Philadelphia and Atlanta and all of these key areas, Milwaukee. He'd spent $500 million to just get these drop boxes put all over the place in these highly Democratic neighborhoods. And supposedly they were monitored at all times. There was nothing that could take place. There could be nothing untoward happen. They're monitored at all times. Don't worry. That doesn't sound like a secure voting system to me. That sounds the opposite of a secure voting system. And so thank God that the COVID cover was not there. And all of those crazy rules that allowed things like that, many of the state legislators got those fixed. And they were not able to operate under those rules this time.
Man, I got to be honest, dude. We have got a lot of comments in the chat, Michael. I think we have everyone's excited. Like, I told my wife earlier, I think this is like the 3rd best day of my life. And I would say it's behind the behind the birth of my son, behind the day I got married. Well, Ohio State winning in 2002 national championship is up there too. Yeah. That was up there. But yeah, man, this was one of the best days ever. Walking around. God is good. It feels good to have a free nation again, that I'm not going to be prosecuted for thinking differently, thinking against Big Brother. Like, I was really thinking like people like us, we're going to go to prison, man. We were going to go to prison. They were going to come after us. It was going that way. It was going that way, Michael. You can't tell me.
No, yeah, we're not. We were not far from that. I mean, think about it. J.K. Rowling, the billionaire author of the Harry Potter series. I think she's a billionaire. If she's not, she's very close. She's very rich. There is a warrant out for her arrest in Scotland. This isn't some far off third world country somewhere. This is just right across the pond in Scotland. There's a warrant out for her arrest in Scotland because she tweets that men are not women.
That's also happening in England, by the way. They are arresting people for posting like certain things on social media that's just not of like the norm there. And people are getting arrested.
And J.K. Rowling is a far left liberal, by the way.
Yes, I know.
Because she actually stays true to her liberal principles that, no, this is degrading.
She's a true feminist.
She's a true feminist.
She's a true feminist. She's like, wait a minute, this isn't for feminism. What the fuck is this?
So, I mean, that's how you know she's real, because like it's at her core. Because like once it hit her, she was like, no, I'm not going along with this. This is not feminine. This is anti-feminism. But a lot of Democrats haven't seen that. They've not put that together yet.
And if Trump had lost, man, I don't know that we could have this show. I think we would have been taken off of YouTube. We have this show today. If he would have lost,
it would have been it would have been a glum. It would have been a glum atmosphere. It would, talking about.
I don't know if I could have had this show today, man. I know we're still going to get into like reactions to the playoff rankings, everyone. But in all honesty, if Trump would have lost, I I don't know, man. I don't know. Fuck, man. It could have been the end of this podcast altogether. That's not a joke.
Jay, this was just a precursor, to what we're going to have with Ohio State. And then it's gonna be even better, because before Trump is inaugurated, Ohio State's going to lift the national championship trophy. And you'll look back and you'll say, Michael, you told me that Ohio State was going to win the national championship. You told me that Trump was going to win. And
Mr. Optimism.
Yeah, exactly. But was I not telling you Trump was going to win? You were like, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. I was like, no, he's got this. I was like, be patient. He's winning this.
No, man, it was about 8:30. I was watching Alex Jones InfoWars. They're like, oh, we don't like what we see in Pennsylvania. I'm like, oh my God. I was one of the people fucking freaking out about Ann Seltzer's fucking poll in the Des Moines Register or whatever out in Iowa. I was freaking out about that over the weekend. They came out on Saturday and I was freaking the fuck out. I'm like, oh my God. And she's some respected pollster, like very accurate, but she got taken over by the communist machine, man. She was used as a puppet.
They made her an offer she couldn't refuse. I don't know what they're doing for her, but she traded whatever they're doing for her credibility. She was a very credible pollster, the most credible, really, in the state of Iowa, from what I've read. And she comes out with a poll of Trump getting beat by 5 points in Iowa. He won Iowa by 15 points.
Yeah, she was like 18 points off. Like, I mean, she's lost all respectability and credibility.
She wasn't off that badly. She's not that bad of a pollster. Her polls have been very good in the past.
So she was just trying to go out there and
she was putting out propaganda to try and discourage voters from getting out and voting for Trump, because see, he's down 5 points in Iowa. You think he's going to win Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Wisconsin? No, never. That was what that was intended to do. Mm-hmm. But people saw it, for what it was, because in every other poll, Trump's winning Iowa by at least 7 or 8 points. And Trump obviously ended up winning Iowa by far more than that.
Yeah, well, thank God he did. He won again, like he won all the Big Ten states outside, the traditional Big Ten. He didn't win Minnesota. He didn't win Illinois, but I think he won everything else, right?
Yeah, Rage, address
this.
New
Jersey, he didn't win.
Yeah, address this certainly before we move on.
Okay.
He asked, is it better than 2016, Rage? Jacob Evans.
Jacob Evans, are we talking about Trump winning in 2016?
Yeah. Is this Trump election? You said it was the third best day of your life behind the marriage and the baby.
Yeah, this was better than 2016, because 2016 I don't think was going to be the end of everything. Hillary is an evil bitch, but she's at least intelligent. Kamala Harris is evil and dumb. So the country would have just gone to hell. And
and I think the Clintons are capitalist. I mean, they're liberal capitalists, and they're willing to, do certain things that I don't necessarily agree with. But I don't think so,
because Bill, the economy got better halfway through his first term because Congress got flipped.
Yeah, but Bill was the kind of guy that he didn't give a crap. He didn't care if the Republicans made him look good. Like as long as he looked good, Bill didn't care. So that was the good thing about him. Is he was willing to work with the Republicans because he was mad with the Democrats' taxes anyway. He, because they, there's been books written about it and stuff that he argued with them, like we should cut taxes, and they're like, well, you can't do that. That's a Republican thing. And so when the Republicans, took control, he was more than willing to work with them to cut taxes because he thought it would make his economy better.
Salty Balls just pointed something out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know the details of this story, but some guy, so he just said, my dog won't be killed by the ATF. Yay. Did you hear about that story about like somebody having like a pet squirrel?
Oh yeah, Peanut the squirrel.
But they busted in this guy's house and went in there and killed the fucking squirrel. Just unannounced.
I mean, I don't think they killed it in the house, but I think they forcefully removed the squirrel and then euthanized it. Like
that is still the same thing. They just came in his house unannounced.
Yeah.
Like who's to say they wouldn't do that for a person down the line?
That is shades, precursors to North Korea. North Korea at certain times when the little fat dictator, just when it suits him, he's like, I don't want any more dogs in the country. And so they send the military out to all of the houses, to the countryside, to everywhere, and they shoot your dogs. I mean, we're North Korea light with that type of thing. And I know it's one incident, and I know it's in New York City, but it shouldn't be it shouldn't be an incident anywhere.
Michael, how did you go vote yesterday? Did you just go into the election election place and just cast your ballot just on your own? Did you go with anybody, or how did you go about your day?
No, all my kids were in school, and so I just went to the ballot by myself and cast my vote that way.
Yeah, I kept my son home from daycare, and I was like, I looked at him as good luck, but then I also thought about, like, if we lose this election, who's to say that I would even get another chance to go with him to such a place later on? That's not a joke, considering like what Kamala Harris and the socialists and the communists would, want to do for people, for free thinkers, man. They would, they hate us. They hate misinformation. They hate people like us who, think differently than they do. So, brought him for good luck, brought him into the polling place, showed him everything. And I was like, dude, we are doing God's work today, man. And I told him that. I'm like, we're doing God's work today. And so it worked. I don't know if he was the one who pushed it forward or not, but I felt like he could be my little good luck charm, and he was.
Well, you brought us home, Jay. You brought us home in North Carolina. My vote didn't really matter that much, other than
South Carolina, man. I'm a South Carolina resident now.
Oh no!
Yeah, man. I've been in South Carolina for almost a year.
Then your vote didn't help much either. My vote didn't help much, other than just to make it even more
help
ridiculous.
The popular vote, man. Help the popular vote.
Absolutely, and that's
democracy.
And that's why I was doing it. I knew Trump was winning Ohio, whether I voted or not. But that's why I did it, is just so that I.
You don't hear them complaining about the Electoral College this time, by the way, because he actually won the popular vote too. So they really have nothing. They're just basically like they're crying and stuff on MSNBC and CNN.
Yeah.
But man, they know, like, they don't really have any arguments to say that Kamala should have won. They don't have anything there.
Well, I mean, again, the Democrats miscalculated. In 2016, Trump used Twitter to communicate to a nation. And so they got to hear from him that way, a little bit more unfiltered than the news media. But the news media would always take his tweets and run it through the news cycle and, put some kind of spin on it. And sometimes he did tweet stupid stuff, obviously. And then this time he did it totally different. He did the podcast route, and he did the alternative media route, and it was brilliant. He got to an audience that he never would have gotten to, and they got to listen to him uninterrupted. So yeah, it was a brilliant campaign strategy, and it worked.
Absolutely, yes. No more men competing in women's sports. How about no men in women's bathrooms either? That's pretty fucking sick.
Yeah.
They always say, like, oh, they're attacking our rights and stuff. Like all these like older, like 30-year-old women and single women. And so I saw a statistic, by the way, that married women voted for Trump. Like, I mean, it was close, but for the most, they voted for Trump. But single women over the age of, I don't know if they had an age, they're like 70% of them went to Kamala Harris, man. That is just.
Yeah. Jacob Evans says Trump is one of the smartest MFers in the world. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he certainly has a brilliant.
Well, he is a billionaire. He does know how to do some things. That's for sure.
Yeah, he has a brilliance of some kind. I mean, he's a master salesman, for one. I mean, he's a master salesman. Did you hear him on Joe Rogan's when he was trying to convince Joe to endorse him?
I didn't. Did Joe do that? I saw the tweet. I didn't hear him actually say he endorsed him.
He didn't on the podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say he didn't. He tweeted it. He tweeted it. He said something about Elon Musk. I don't know. I forget what the tweet even was, but I think it was either before the show or something. But he was like, "Yeah, that's an endorsement of Donald Trump." But I think, Elon definitely was it. Did he film that and then post the? I don't really know, because those aren't filmed live. They're filmed and then put on. Right, they're not filmed live.
I don't think they're streamed.
I wonder if he posted that after he filmed it.
I imagine so. No, I don't think the Rogan podcast is streamed live. I believe it's recorded.
Caroline just said, I'll optimistic tonight. Can't wait to hear my thoughts about Ryan Day. Ryan Day drags me down, Caroline. I'm in a good mood. I don't want to talk about Ryan Day. This is a happy day. This is happy rage. I'm in a great mood. This is like one of the best days of my life. Walking around in my Donald Trump shirt. I wish somebody would try and fucking try me, but nobody did. So I am happy. Happy rage, happy Jay, happy everything. Just great.
All right, let's go and take a look at this playoff ranking.
Let's take a look. It's 40 minutes in, Michael. We only planned to talk about for like 10 minutes, but fuck, man, here we are.
Here we are. And here it is. Here is the first college football 12-team playoff ranking in the history of the sport. And you've got to, I know most of you have probably already seen it at this point, but the Buckeyes did leapfrog Georgia, as I thought they should, and sits at number 2. So they are positioned 100% to have the number 1 seed going into the playoffs if they win out. They completely control their destiny. They have no excuses. The number 1 seed is there for the taking. Of course, Oregon has that same deal on the table. So it looks, Rage, like unless one of those two slipped up in a game that nobody foresaw, that a Big Ten team is going to have the number 1 seed in the first college football playoff, as they had the number 1 seed in the last 14 playoff last year.
Well, I don't know about that, Michael. So if Ohio State beats Oregon and Georgia were to win out, Georgia's got games at Ole Miss. They play Tennessee. They would have the SEC championship game. Georgia would absolutely catapult over Ohio State. They would not catapult over Oregon.
Well, Ohio State will have another top 10 win against Indiana, and they have a win against the number 1 team in the country. I mean, so that's a compelling resume. It
is compelling, but the eye test still matters. And I still need to study Indiana. At the end of the day, people are going to say Indiana. Okay, you beat Indiana. Yeah, they're undefeated. And yeah, I believe they're very, very, very good, but I don't know that that's going to mean a lot in the eyes of the committee. I do think that Georgia's wins against Ole Miss, Tennessee, and whoever they play in the SEC championship game, probably not Alabama. I just think that would weigh more. I think they would jump Ohio State, man. I really do. They would not jump Oregon, but they would jump Ohio State. Oregon, looking at this list, man, you know, one thing that happened.
It's possible. It's possible, but I also think it's possible that if Ohio State wins out, they could end up with the number 1.
I mean, they could. I just don't. But looking at this list, man, you know what happened over the weekend, Michael, is there was a lot of losses by teams in the top 20, and I think it was a bad thing. Do you know why I think it was a bad thing, Michael?
Why?
Because we are now not going to have as many. We're not going to have as diverse of a 12-team playoff as we would have had those teams not lost. So now we're going to have more teams from the SEC and more teams from the Big Ten, with some other teams scattered in there, of course, probably like BYU and, SMU, and then Boise State. And that's probably it. That's probably it from the outliers. We're not going to get Clemson. We are not going to get probably Kansas. We're not going to get Kansas State. We're not going to get like Pittsburgh, and we're not going to get Iowa State. These teams all have to win their conference championship games. And that sucks, man. That sucks. I guess maybe there's a path if somebody were to knock off BYU in their conference championship game. But I mean, damn, man, that could knock BYU out. BYU has got to be really upset. They have a really, really good win over SMU at the beginning of the season. And SMU is right now the second best team in the ACC. And they're not giving them a lot of credit there. Like, I think BYU should be ahead of Tennessee and Penn State just based on what they've done in the regular season. But I guess that's where the eye test comes in as well.
Yeah. I haven't seen them, Jay. So, I mean, those are BYU, and a few of those teams I have not seen play this year. I've certainly seen University of Tennessee play a couple of times, but BYU, I don't really know how good. You think they're good?
I mean, do I think that they can win the national championship? No, I don't. But I think
do you think they can win a playoff game?
depends on who they're playing against.
Okay, right. Let's just go right now. They play Indiana.
Probably not. No, I would probably pick Indiana.
So let's say it shuffles around a little bit. Now they're playing Tennessee. Can they beat Tennessee?
Yeah, I think they could beat Tennessee.
Okay. Shuffles around a little more. Now they're playing Notre Dame. You think they could beat Notre Dame?
No, I don't think they could beat
Okay.
Notre Dame.
So maybe they belong in the playoffs. I mean, if you think they could beat Tennessee, maybe they belong in the playoffs.
Yeah. No, I mean Tennessee's good, but Tennessee's offense is really not very good at all. And I
would love to play the Vols. Oh, I would love to play the Vols in the first round.
Yeah, but they would light up our offensive line, man. I don't know if we want that.
Oh, I think we could take them.
I think we could win for sure, but the problem is they've got speed rushers and stuff, and I mean they're very, very similar to Penn State. Very, very similar to Penn State. You know,
I really think
good offense, but
I think we would exactly. I think we would shut their offense down big time.
Okay, so Shane Cup just asked a question. So maybe it's best we lose to Oregon in the Big Ten. No, you want that number 1 seed if you can, because I mean, it's rare in the NFL for wild card teams playing all those games to win the Super Bowl. It's rare. It does happen. But for the most part, the teams that win the Super Bowl get a bye. You want a bye. I don't care who you have playing.
Yep.
You want that bye to have as few games as possible to just rest and recover and be on your A game. So, no, you want the bye and you want the number 1 seed. And, you know, I understand that people think that 5th seed is really good. And, yeah, optically it is good, but your ceiling's probably the Final Four. Do you want the ceiling of the Final Four or to win a national championship?
Yeah, I don't this 5th seed nonsense. Like who, you know, it's like good grief. Who is ever going to sign up to have to play another game against a good team?
I know Notre Dame actually can't get a first round bye.
No, they can't. So 5's the size they can get.
Yeah, so I think if Notre Dame wins out, they'll be the 5, unless Ohio State goes to the Big Ten championship game, loses close game. Now you have a 1-loss Notre Dame versus a 2-loss Ohio State team. I don't know.
Yeah.
For that 5th spot.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, Ohio State, let's say they got in the 5 spot. Let's say they got the 6th spot. They would be playing right now, according to the rankings, number 11, Alabama. Yeah. Let's sign up for that. No. Let's get the number 1 seed. You know, if we were in the 5 seed, we'd be playing number 12. Who is that? Oh, Boise State. Yeah. So, I mean, that's better than Alabama, but still, like, why do you want to play that game? Be the number 1 seed, sit back and watch, get more prepared, get ready, get your body rested, and go out there and win, you know, be ready to go that first round. And now I think
absolutely.
Tom Brady, like 5 of his 7 Super Bowls, he had the bye.
I'm looking at these, what the matchups would be right now. Indiana, Tennessee, and Knoxville. Now, here's the thing. On a neutral field, I would pick Indiana to beat Tennessee.
It would be Indiana, BYU in Indiana, in Bloomington. 8 and 9 would go at each other. It would be Tennessee and
No. You're looking at this wrong, Michael. So conference champions get a first round bye. It doesn't matter what.
Okay, I was just going by the ranking.
No. So Ohio State would be playing Boise State in the first round. You said it was out. No, they would be playing Boise State.
Are you saying they didn't win They didn't win the Big Ten championship?
Yes, if they did, if they didn't. Right now, as the rankings stand right now, Ohio State would be playing Boise State in round 1 because we did not win the Big Ten, and we would be the 5th spot. BYU would be one of the first round. If Ohio State were to beat Boise State, they would then go on to play BYU. Indiana and Tennessee would play in the first round, and it would be in Knoxville. In Knoxville, I'm picking Tennessee. On a neutral field, I think I'm picking Indiana, but in Knoxville, I'm picking Tennessee. Notre Dame would be going on the road to playing Penn State right now. Alabama would be going on the road playing Texas. The first round byes would be BYU, Oregon, Miami, which, by the way, I'm very surprised that Miami was ranked 4th, I think. Yeah, 4th behind Ohio State, which is, they're undefeated. So, and they have a win that was more impressive than what Georgia had against Florida. So that's and it was on the road in the swamp. So Miami fans have got to be a little pissed off. And they have
Yeah.
the best player in the country on their team.
Yeah, I agree. But Miami doesn't scare me. They really don't. I would love to play them in the semifinal. That'd be a great semifinal game.
Oh,
Love
they
it.
scare me. They would light our pass defense up, man. They would light them up because our DBs can't cover them.
Well, I'd still like to play them. I think we would wear that defensive line out.
Yeah, I think so, but they would score a lot of points. It would be very similar to Ohio State, Oregon. Very similar.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
think
thing.
I think we would move the ball even better against them than we did against Oregon.
Okay, so Shane Cup, yeah, I don't want to play all those extra games. Now, I will say this. I do not like the 12-team playoff. Do not like it. Do not like it at all. Too many teams, too much like the NFL. College football is becoming too much like the NFL, and let's be real.
I
the
love
NFL
it, Jay. I love it. I'm here for it.
I don't like the NFL, man. The NFL is a bad product, and I don't care what the ratings say. I think the NFL is actually a bad product. I do not like that there is so much parity, and it's built for parity. I don't like there's so many playoff games. Honestly, the best model in professional sports is Major League Baseball. Yeah. Back before Major League Baseball expanded the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I like that the best.
Yeah. Well, I mean, salary cap wise, they've kind of got the Major League Baseball thing going on in college football. In that regards, they're like the Major League.
Yeah,
Baseball,
they are like Major League Baseball in regards to that. But here's the thing: everyone wants some kind of order there. Well, what does order mean? Order means salary cap.
Yeah. I say let it go. Just let it go. Let it go. Let it do whatever it wants. I'm not really for order in it. I do think that there needs to be some order in that there needs to be some rules. And so I'm all for like a commissioner, like the NFL that is a commissioner over basically the two power conferences. And then, the SEC and Big Ten could, continue to have their own commissioners, but somebody who's over all of it and a little bit of structure to kind of make sure that everybody is playing by the same rules as far as performance enhancing drugs and, various things like that. But as far as the money goes, no, I'm fine with them just letting it rip. Like people can do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying there. Getting back to the chat. All right. So okay. If if somebody gives Ryan Day some Robitussin, we'll get there. Rage, who you got on a neutral field, Ohio State or Oregon? Right now, I have Oregon. Oregon would beat Ohio State on a neutral field.
Jacob, I have Ohio State right now over Oregon because they're the better team. Caroline, Rage, seriously, and have you ever been to a Major League game? More fun? Oh, yes. Have been to many
What's
Major
more
games.
fun? I don't know what she's trying to say there.
I don't know. Caroline, tell us what you were saying. Anyhow, moving on. Rage. I mean, what do you think? What is your gut feeling now? After you've digested the Penn State win, that glorious win in Happy Valley.
Dude, stop trolling me.
It's going to be a glorious win when they win the national championship, Jay.
No, I would say other wins down the line would be glorious, but there's nothing glorious about that game.
Okay, let's clarify this real quick, and then we'll move back to that. Minor league game. Have you been to a minor league game? Yes, been to quite a few minor league games. Yes, they are.
No, I have, and I hate them. I didn't think that was funny.
Okay. So how are you feeling about the Buckeyes after digesting it, thinking about it, and having some perspective with it?
Let me clarify on why I hate minor league first. I hate minor league baseball because obviously I live in the Charlotte area. And number one, they have the Charlotte Knights down here, and they're part of the White Sox organization. Well, people go to these games and they're cheering on Charlotte. I'm like, I'm not a fucking White Sox fan. And then the crowd kind of sucks and nobody's really into the game. It's more like social hour. And I'm like, I don't go to these things for social hour. I don't really like people. I don't, as time and time goes on, the less and less I like people, man. I just kind of want to do my thing, live my life and, hang out with the people I'm cool with, but I don't really care about making new friends outside of just for work purposes. Fuck that. Yeah. Anywho, Ohio State, again, we need to play other games, man. Like the Penn State game didn't do anything for me. I've said that. That was not a national championship winning performance. That was like, Penn State's a top 15. Top 15 team. You barely beat them. Not much positive to take outside. I guess you won the game.
But you still feel like there's been no change of feelings. How are you feeling right now? Do you feel like they've got a chance?
Chance to do what?
To win the national championship.
Oh, yeah, I guess they have a chance.
A good chance.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
I would give them right now a 25% chance to do it. And that's
Jacob
being
Evans,
optimistic.
why is the horseshoe so dead? The big house is way more lit, and the SEC is insane. I don't disagree with you, Jacob. The horseshoe.
I can tell you why.
The horseshoe is an awful environment right now. It's not fired up. It doesn't bring much of a home field advantage at all. Why, Jay? Why is the horseshoe? What's wrong?
Well, I have been going to Ohio State games since I can remember. And I will say that the height of the horseshoe in terms of intensity, loudness, was between the years of probably 2000. I would say the year 2000 that I remember. And 2006, I would say between there. And that's when like the horseshoe got really like big time reviews and stuff. But something happened in, I would say about after 2009, because 2009 USC at home at night, that game where Joe McKnight and Matt Barkley went into the shoe and beat us at the very end. I was there.
Do you know what happened in 2006, Jay? I'll tell you what happened. We got embarrassed by Florida. The next year, we got embarrassed by LSU. Then the following year, early in the season, we got embarrassed at USC. Then later on that year, we got beat by Texas. And then we got beat by Matt Barkley in the shoe, early. And it's like through that stretch, Ohio State fans, they're not going in there like confident in their team. Like they're going in there, and when things start to go bad, it's like the place gets like, it's like it shrinks back. They don't try and cheer the team on and go nuts and like they're there like till the end. It's like they're just kind of expecting it to tumble downhill, and they just kind of don't really show up. I do remember in 2008, I was at a night game against Illinois, one that we actually lost. Juice Williams beat us that night. That was that would have been 2007, I guess, because that was the year they did go to the national championship. But it was a real good environment that night at a night game. But I've been to several games that have just been a really subpar environment. Like the last one I went to, Marshall. I mean, it was hot and it was miserably hot, but it was a bad environment. I mean, there was no juice there.
Well, number one, ticket prices have gone up. Number two, the crowds have become older. Now, there was a section of people up until so we've had season tickets to Ohio State since I can remember, considering my grandpa played football and baseball for the program back in the day. So we have the opportunity to, have the opportunity to buy tickets. Now they're not so hard to get, but up until about, I would say the year 2012, 2013, you had to be somebody to get season tickets at Ohio State. You just couldn't get them. Like they were that hard to get. But after that, it's really not all that hard anymore. But so I've been to so many games, and up until so we sat in this A section, I forget, between the years of maybe 2007 and 2010. And that area had some really, really solid fans, man. Really solid fans. They were into the game. They were cussing. They were screaming. There is this super fan behind me who always had this radio, but he knew nothing about fucking football. And he would always be like, come on, you just gotta get him. Just gotta get him. Come on. And it's like, well, do what, man? Do we need to sack the quarterback? Do we need to blitz? What do we need to talk about here? I don't know. Speaking of blitzes, man, did you happen to see Tim Walz, back to the political talk? Apparently he was playing Madden against somebody, and I don't know who he was playing. It might have been Kamala Harris, but he said something like, oh, I just ran a pick six.
Yeah. And he was supposed to be a football coach.
He was supposed to be a football coach, which he lied about. He was a football coach, but he said he was a head coach and he was assistant coach. He was he was in Tiananmen Square when he was never there. He's like, oh, I'm just a knucklehead. Well, we don't want a knucklehead to be the fucking vice president, you dumb fucking bitch.
Yeah. Shane Cup, there isn't a great team this year. Oregon might be the best, and we lost to them on the road by 1. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's why I think that's why I'm picking the Buckeyes to win the national championship. Jay just hasn't gotten on the positivity train yet, but he will as time goes on and they win game after game and it begin to forge confidence in Jay once again in his beloved Buckeyes. Did you see the picture of the kids playing Uno at the MSU game? I did not see that, Jacob. I don't know. Did you see that, Jay?
Did I see the kids
playing Uno at the MSU game?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Shane, Ohio State lost by 8. Oregon intercepted the first drive. Refs gifted Ohio State 7
P. Laker, AOC, what?
If Oregon played a clean game, they could have won by 20. Well, Frosty Mug, I'm going to disagree with you by that because if Ohio State played a clean game, you guys don't get the 3 points off of the muffed hands team that we had. And what was the other one, Jay? There was another. We gave them. They got and the ball got stripped. I mean, it was a good play by the defender. I'm not taking that away from them, but if we don't get stripped on our own 20-yard line, that was 6 more points. So that was 9 point swing there. So it'll be a neutral field, far different than playing out there in you guys' place.
You have to remember they have Jordan Burch and we don't have Josh Simmons. That's a big thing. And we have Ryan Day and they have Dan Lanning. There's a difference there too.
Yeah.
Dan Lanning's turned it around this year, man. He's found he's figured out certain rules and stuff. I guess in the Michigan game, he did something crazy and it was just within the rule set at the time and something maybe get changed after that. But the guy, he's changed and he's developed over time. Whereas Ryan Day has kind of remained the same. He hasn't learned from his mistakes. And that makes me question Ryan Day's intelligence. I don't think he's very smart. He's kind of like Tim Walz.
Buckeyes,
something like that. I don't know.
Buckeyes 34, Oregon 27. Big Ten champions, Ohio State Buckeyes.
Man, let's get there when we actually get. Let's talk about that when we actually get there, Michael. Ohio State still has to play Indiana. They have to play Michigan. Neither one of those are gimmies. Caroline says, "Answer me. What answer you about what?" I'm looking through the chat. What motivates me to be a fan of football? Well, number one, I played football. That's what motivates me. I love the sport. It's a lot of fun. And I love Ohio State, even though you wouldn't know it listening to this podcast, but actually you should know it listening to this podcast. I have been pretty clear on my love for Ohio State on this show. Maybe on other platforms, people would think I hate Ohio State.
Yeah.
Indiana will be Ohio State. I can't disagree.
I disagree, Frosty Mug. Ohio State is going to rip them pretty good. And Michael, what leads you to be a Buckeye fan? It's the only thing I know. I've always been a Buckeye fan, so I guess it's just what I am. Okay. Nope. Oregon fan. Yeah, Frosty Mug. You guys are good, Frosty Mug. I'm not taking anything away from you.
The chat is on fucking fire today, man. They are on fire. Hey, chat, since all of you guys are here and commenting, make sure you freaking share, like, subscribe, tell all of your friends, get some more people on this thing because, we kind of outed ourselves as being Christian conservatives on here, constitutional conservatives. So, maybe we're one of a kind. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Jay, you got anything else before we wrap this thing up?
I don't think I have anything in particular off the top of my head regarding anything. Did you happen to know that Ward Manuel is ahead of the college football playoffs this year? Was he last year too?
No, I didn't. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I will say this, man. That guy is really. He seems to really he's actually giving benefit to the Big Ten. At least when I listened to him yesterday on the rankings reveal or today.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. The Big Ten needs that. They haven't had that. The Big Ten is wanted to just kind of, they just kind of bow out of things and don't really fight for stuff. And the SEC's just, got their representatives going at it, lobbying for them every which way. So that's good. I'm glad the Big Ten is catching up.
Oh, man, here's a good one. Shane Cup, Rage, thoughts on Ohio State team win versus Texas? I apologize. I should have talked about Ohio State basketball last episode. Michael, I remember even telling you about that. I'm like, hey, man, we play Texas tomorrow, and I completely forgot to fucking mention it on the show.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to make this really quick. Yes, very, very happy about the win, but just remember this. Texas didn't have their second best player, Tremont Mark, playing in the game. He was a former All-SEC guard from Arkansas, I believe. So, that was a lot of length there. I still don't like the defense Ohio State is doing. I still don't like that we're getting beat off the dribble and stuff. The team shoots collectively better than last year, but I'm going to tell you that the loss of Jamison Battle, Roddy Gale, and Scotty Middleton have not been replaced. We do not have any length in shooting at the wings. And right now, I don't see anyone on the team that can break people down off the dribble outside of Michi Johnson and finish inside. Like, we were on fire from 3 against Texas, and we only won by like 8 points. Like, that is, and I think Ohio State hit like 14 threes and only won by 8 points. That's a little concerning. Got absolutely nothing from Aaron Bradshaw and Dylan Stewart outside of a couple blocks. These guys have got to be able to score. Like, yeah, Ohio State has finally got like legit size inside, but these guys got to give us something. They got to give us some scoring. They just can't be out there. Aaron Bradshaw looked like doofy and kind of uncoordinated. Like, dude, you were a former top 5 player in the country. Dylan Stewart, top 25 player in the country, like transfers from big time schools. Yeah, Roddy Gale. I mean, I would absolutely have Roddy Gale over Michi Johnson. I would have him over anyone, honestly, outside of maybe Bruce. But again, Roddy Gale was the best shot creator on the team last year. Now we don't have him. And there are a lot of times that Roddy Gale bailed us out. Dusty May is better than that coach y'all got. I got to see Dusty May coaching at Michigan, and I'll be cheering for Michigan basketball. Me and Michael is more committed to following basketball this year. We're going to have basketball coverage. Don't you worry. Yeah, I'm very happy for the win. Always beat fucking Texas. Beat Texas and everything.
Yep. Beat an SEC school too. It's always good to beat an SEC school in any major sport.
Caroline wants can you surprise us next time with a mask? I don't know what she's talking about. Who does she think fucking did that? But yeah, big win over Texas though. Happy that we won. We play at Texas A&M in a couple weeks. By the way, everyone, I think I might make the drive down to Atlanta when Ohio State basketball plays Auburn on December 14th, something like that, on like a Saturday. I may go to that game. If someone wants to say what's up.
Let's go out on this one, Jay. Jacob Evans says Michigan is getting Bryce Underwood, boys. Is that true, Jay? Have you heard that? I mean, I've heard the rumors. I'm all for it. I want to play against the best, so I want him to get the best.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope he goes to Michigan. There's no reason he shouldn't go to Michigan. Well, I guess their only reason is the offense, but maybe they can promise him, hey, you come to Michigan, we'll run an offense that is suited to your skill set.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, Michigan just won the national championship. There's nothing down in the SEC that they, and they had a first-round quarterback. So there's nothing in the SEC for Bryce Underwood outside of maybe more money. But if Michigan can just get their NIL on par, that guy should be staying home, at least with Michigan or Michigan State. Absolutely no reason Michigan cannot get him.
Yep. Wow, we play a lot of SEC teams. In basketball, Shane, is that what you're talking about?
In basketball, we play Texas A&M. We play 3. We play, I guess, 3 by the letter of the law. I guess, like Texas, SEC, at Texas A&M, and then we play Auburn on a neutral court, although it's in Atlanta.
Yeah. UD basketball coverage would be fun, Caroline.
No, I don't like basketball.
Okay, LSU. Okay, yep. Good. I hope you guys do outbid them and keep him home and keep him in the Big Ten.
Hell yeah, I hope so too.
But Jay, I think that's about all we got for tonight. Thank you guys for.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Those of you that did, thank you. Those of you that were in the chat, kept the chat active. That makes the show a whole lot more fun. And Trump pulled it out, and today
Trump 2024, baby. We fucking did it. This is such a great day. I'm in such a great fucking mood.
Today,
Yes.
yes,
Just fuck yes, man. Fuck yeah.
Today
I'm
is
just so fucking happy.
Today, as far as I'm concerned, is a great day. So I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll be back with another episode Sunday evening. All right, take it easy.